Related in the Freedom Charter almost 70 years ago. We gather here as the people born of the same soil across our 9 provinces that make up our unitary South Africa, determined that by our deeds we shall heal the divisions of our past and overcome the ongoing inequalities and hardships of the present. We declare to all to know that neither discord nor dissent shall cause us to cast aside that which calls us to build a united, free, just, equal, and prosperous nation. On this day, we assert by solemn oath the will of the people of this country. We affirm our unwavering fidelity to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, which is based on the enduring vision that sets out the values inscribed in the Freedom Charter. As the leadership of this diverse nation, we have a sacred duty to unite the people of South Africa. We affirm that history has placed on our shoulders the responsibility to transform our country into a non-racial and non-sexist and prosperous society. We affirm our determination to build a more equal and caring society. Yes, we do affirm our resolute quest to build a growing and inclusive economy that creates jobs, offers opportunities and livelihoods to all our people. We rededicate ourselves to the task of democratic renewal and social and economic transformation so that no one feels and is left behind. And so, as we enter another era in the life of our nation, the resilience of our democracy has once more been tested, and the people have spoken loudly that they choose peace and democracy over conflict, violence, undemocratic and unconstitutional methods. In their multitudes, in their voices that are many and diverse, the people of South Africa have voted and have made known their wishes, their concerns, and their aspirations. We accept and respect the results of the elections, and once again we say, yes, the people of South Africa have spoken, and we accept. Their will shall be done without any doubt or any question. The voters of South Africa did not give any single political party the full mandate to govern our country alone. They have directed us to work together to address their plight and realize their aspirations. They have expressed their appreciation of the progress in many areas of their lives over the past 30 years of democracy. They have also been unequivocal in expressing their disappointment and disapproval of our performance in some of the areas in which we have failed them. They want a transformed, growing, and inclusive economy that creates jobs for millions of job seekers and offer business opportunities to entrepreneurs in our nation, women, men, young and old. The people have been clear about what they want. They want a South Africa in which all may find shelter in our democratic constitution and may find protection in our courts. They have described a country in which all may rise above the circumstances of their birth, nurtured by loving families, aided by a caring state, and empowered by initiative, will, and hard work. Through their votes, they have made clear that they want the basic necessities of a life that is comfortable. They asserted that they want enough food to eat, water that is clean, affordable electricity that is available at all times. They want decent homes that keep out the wind, the rain, and the cold. They want well-maintained roads and street lights that work. The people of South Africa have asked no more than to be properly cared for when they are sick. They want the young people of our country to be taught well, for the elderly to be cared for, and for those without work to work. The people of South Africa have spoken about the land they want to farm, about the businesses they want to run, about the things and products they want to make, about the skills they want to learn. They have spoken of their desire to be safe in their homes, on the streets, in their cities, in their villages, and on their farms. The people have demanded an end to the theft of public funds and the capture of the state. Above all, the people of South Africa have stressed that they are impatient with political bickering and the endless blame game amongst politicians and political parties. They want us to put their needs and aspirations first, and they want us to work together for the sake of our country. Today, I stand before you as your humble servant to say that we have heard you. As the President of the Republic of South Africa, I will work with everyone to reach out and work with every political party and sector that is willing to contribute to finding solutions to the challenges our country faces as we transition to a new decade of freedom. 30 years have passed since we turned our back on racial tyranny and embraced an open that is founded on strong democratic institutions and universal freedoms. We have built a transformed public service, an independent judiciary, a competitive electoral system, a sophisticated economy, a vibrant and free media, and a robust civil society. And yet, despite this progress, our society remains deeply unequal and highly polarized. There are toxic cleavages of an incipient social fragmentation that can only turn into instability. Men and women, between suburbs and townships, between urban and rural, between the wealthy and the poor, remain still deeply etched in our landscape. In places, these lines may have faded, but they have not disappeared. We are citizens of one country, and yet we occupy different worlds, separated by high walls and great distances. We are divided between those who have jobs and those who do not work, between those who have the means to build and enjoy a comfortable life and those who do not. And so today, my fellow South Africans, is no ordinary day. It is a moment of fundamental consequence in the life of our nation. It is a moment when we must choose to either move forward together or risk losing all we have built. In this moment, we must choose to move forward, to close the distances between South Africans and to build a more equal society, to translate the promise of our Constitution and the vision of the Freedom Charter into a reality for all. This moment requires extraordinary courage and leadership. It requires a common mission to safeguard national unity, peace, stability, inclusive economic growth, non-racialism, and non-sexism. Through the ballots that they have cast, the people of South Africa have made plain their expectation that the leaders of our country should work together. They have directed their representatives to put aside animosity and dissent, to abandon narrow interests, and to pursue together only that which benefits the nation. As leaders, as political parties, we are called upon to work in partnership towards a growing economy, better jobs, safer communities, and a government that works for all the people of South Africa. From across the political spectrum, parties have answered this call, understanding that no party can govern alone. Unity 30 years ago to forge a common future and build a united nation. The parties in the Government of National Unity of today have agreed to work together, a statement of inclusive and sustainable economic growth, to create more of a just society and build state capacity. The parties have made a commitment to invest in South Africa's people through quality education and healthcare. United nation together, and to pursue a foreign policy based on human rights to achieve this mission. Wherever we are, whether we are in business, in labor, in civil society, this moment calls on all of us to work together, to consolidate this working together through convening and through their various formations together, so that we can chart a way forward to forge a social compact to realize the aspirations of our National Development Plan. As individuals, as families, as communities, and in our every strength to turn our dream for a better South Africa into reality, even as we are united in our diversity. We are a people of deep and abiding faith. We pray for our nation, as our religious leaders just did, for our spirits to be lifted, for our fortunes to be restored. We owe this noble mission our courage. We must be brave and we must be bold. This is a new tide that heralds progress, transformation, and deep fundamental change. We look to this rising tide with optimism and hope. We must reject every attempt to divide or distract us, to sow doubt and cynicism, or to turn us against one another. Those who seek to stand in our way, those who seek to inflame tensions in our country, will not succeed, because South Africans are resolute. Those who seek to undermine our institutions will fail, because democracy lives in the hearts of all our people and shall never be dislodged. Nothing will distract us from serving the people and advancing their interests. Now is the time to move forward. Together, we will and we can do more and better as South Africans. Now is the time to assemble all our capabilities and to direct all our energies to answer the call of the people of South Africa. We dare not linger. We dare not rest until we have created jobs for those who need them, until there is enough food on every table, until every person in every town, city, village, or farm receives the basic services they need for a decent life. We dare not rest until the women of South Africa are free. We cannot rest until criminals are off our streets and the drugs are out of our communities. Until men no longer perpetrate violence against women and children. Until those who steal from the people are held accountable. We dare not rest while our communities are ravaged by flood. We will accept our responsibility to respond, work, and more equal compassion. Join hands with our brothers and sisters across our beloved region here in SADC, our beloved continent of Africa, to find peace, to achieve stability, to advance development through the African Continental Free Trade Area, through the construction of roads, rail lines, factories, and power stations. Africa will embark on a new age of production and commerce. Today, I make a solemn commitment to be a president for all South Africans, not of some South Africans. To defend our Constitution and to protect our democracy. To work with all those who share the dream of a better life for all. To care for the poor, the vulnerable, and to support all those who are in need. And to make our country stronger, more resilient, more equal, and more united. This is the dream that the poet Sandile Dikeni describes in his work called Love Poem for My Country. My country is for health and wealth, he says. See the blue of the sky, and beneath the jewels of fish, deep under the bowels of soil. Hear the golden voice of a miner's praise for my country. My country is for unity. Feel the millions. See their passion. Their hands are joined together, and there is hope in their eyes. On this day, our hands are joined together. We are united as South Africans. We are full of hope. Let us carry this hope to permeate throughout our nation so that everyone can join hands to build the South Africa of our dreams. God bless South Africa and protect its people. Nkosi sikelela i-Afrika, Morena boloka setjhaba sa heso. God seën South Africa. Modimo patotshedza Afrika Tshipembe. Hosi katekisa Afrika. Chief Justice, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for addressing us. Once more, let us welcome our President and his address with another round of applause. Mr. President, I now invite you to observe the mass fly past.
Our President, His Excellency Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, today is represented by various squadrons around the country, serving within the borders of the South African Air Force, contained by various bases strategically located around the Republic of South Africa. These airmen and women of various ethnic backgrounds, gender, and cultures will showcase their flying skills under surveilling strength of the South African Air Force motto, "Free the Eagle." The appointed Air Force senior officer in charge of today's flypast and air display is Colonel Advocate Andrew Sechone, also known as Trumpy. The ground liaison officer responsible for the safety of the flypast and air display is Lieutenant Colonel Ronnie Mashao, assisted by the assisting GLO Major Ditau Mahano. The flypast air display heralds the inauguration of the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, against the beautiful backdrop of 30 years of democracy of the Rainbow Nation. Furthermore, this great democratic achievement is echoed in the South African Air Force, bringing surely the parade to the open blue skies. It is the mandate of the South African Air Force as an arm of service within the South African National Defence Force to protect the Republic from air assaults or make it impossible for any opposing air force to provide attacking ground forces with air support. Of the Republic of South Africa, the South African Air Force positions itself to project effective air and space power at the moment around the designated airspace around the Union buildings, ensuring that today's official celebration proceedings succeed without disturbance or interference. In support of these combat air patrols, it is tactical mobile radars being deployed, whose very purpose is to search, locate, and pinpoint aerial threats of any nature in order of our combat aircraft to intercept and force down. Ladies and gentlemen, let us ready ourselves for a spectacular display of air power excellence by the South African Air Force, as we will now continue with our mass flypast program. The second phase of flight will now commence. The flypast of all aircraft will approach from the south directly in your line of vision, just above the Telkom Tower. Inbound, the South African Air Force will so cast 8 formations flights as part of today's celebrations, which allow me to briefly introduce you in the order of flight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to the Augusta A109 in the rear and in the lead, and the 2 BK117s. 1 Superlynx 300. That first roar in the skies that you hear is the beautiful sound of the Roy Falk Combat Support Helicopter in the lead. 300 M64 Maritime Helicopter aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Roy Falk, the BK117, and the Superlynx Maritime Patrol aircraft. Next, as part of this mass fly past inauguration towards in honor of our president, the CASA call sign Charlie 212 formation is on the approach, consisting of 1 times CASA 212 Aviocar, an aircraft that was inherited by the former TBVC states, Transkei, Botswana, Venda, and Ciskei, along with the Kawasaki BK117 that we have witnessed in Heliformation 1, and also form part of the national flag fly past, the 3rd helicopter last. This Charlie 212 formation will be the lead aircrafter, and by the co-pilot, Major Mandisa Mfeka. And of course, by the name, she is a female. With a beautiful call sign of Comet, a name profound in the South African Air Force that we are proud of, because she's legend in the fact that she was the first black woman fighter pilot at 85 Combat Flying School and 2 Squadron, respectively, in the Limpopo province. As part of this 212 CASA formation that we await, will be the CASA, my apologies, will be 5 Pilatus PC-7 Mark II basic flying training aircraft. As we know in the South African Air Force, basic flying training starts with every pilot, and these Pilatus PC-7 Mark IIs are operated by Air Force Base Langebaanweg on the west coast of Cape Town, north of Cape Town rather. That is where all military basic flying starts for all pilots. This Pilatus MC Mark II will follow straight on the heels of the lead aircraft, the CASA 212. The aircraft commander is Major Angus Maleka, call sign Rocky, and his co-pilot is 2nd Lieutenant S.E., wait for it, Malopa. For those who know her, she's also a female pilot on the Pilatus PC-7 Mark II. Pilatus number 3 in the formation will be commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Palatse and his co-pilot, 2nd Lieutenant J.G. Venter. The Pilatus PC Mark II, number 3, will be Lieutenant Molokoma and Major Chochechi. In the rear, Pilatus 4 will be commanded by Major M.A. Grobelaar and his co-pilot, Second Lieutenant P.B. Vuma. The aircraft commander for Pilatus number 5 in the formation, in the rear right of the lead aircraft, is Major Marule and co-pilot Second Lieutenant M.E. Lebelo. Ladies and gentlemen, Casa formation. To the air is the Inquasi. This formation is also the Inquasi, transportation aircraft for the President of the Republic of South Africa. Accompanied will be a Falcon 50 on the left, a Falcon 50 on the right, and a Falcon 900 in the rear. This is a first for the South African Air Force to have 21 squadrons, VVIP squadron, in formation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the formidable, the profound 21 squadron that transports number 1, President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. Whilst we await the arrival of the Top Gun, which will be very quick, as you can imagine, something of note is that earlier this year, President Cyril Ramaphosa received 2,000 flying hours in the BBJ since his first presidential inauguration in 2019, for which he has received a good gold commemoration certificate from 21 Squadron. The next in line as part of our mass flypast is the Top Gun of the South African Air Force, the Gripen and the Hawk formation. This formation consists of 2 Gripens advanced in the lead and in the rear, and the rest is the Hawks. The lead Gripen was flown by Lieutenant Joseph Mashaba, the officer of 2 Squadron, and in Hawk number 3, Captain Charlene Batenays, female pilot. Following is another roaring giant of the skies, the South African Airways Airbus A330 passenger airliner. The A330 is flown by ex-South African Air Force pilot, Captain A.T.D. Williamson. Captain Williamson has accumulated over 15,000 flying hours on the A320 and the A330, respectively. As part of the crew is Captain K. Ramakola, a female commander and captain of the South African Airways, and First Officer N. Maloko, also a female captain and airline commander. Ladies and gentlemen, things have been going quite quickly, but prepare yourself for what is to come, what we would like to call a duet, an aerial dance. And this next air display, for your enjoyment, is the penultimate air display, which will be in the form of the duet, as I explained, the aerial waltz, between 2 Kawasaki BK-117s, also aircraft that we inherited from the ex-TBVC states. They are both light utility helicopters, and it promises to be a nail-biting display. Ladies and in the President's 6 o'clock, the 2 BK-117s in the lead, Major Oberholzer, call sign Serrano, Major B4E, call sign Beetle, number 2, Lieutenant Colonel Olivier, call sign Gizmo, and Flight Sergeant Maklawane. As they approach, they will fly what is known at the moment as a dual wing over. Beautifully executed with precision. Steep turn to the left and right with a downward pitch. as they prepare themselves and reposition for the next aerial maneuver, which is known as Humpty on the center. By the word Humpty, we can all think for ourselves to the little rhyme, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. And that's exactly what these two BK117s will perform as they approach towards your line of view. Humpty Dumpty on the center. And the beautiful BK117s in the dive. The BK117 is a multi-role, multifunctional platform. Some of its roles and functions are trooping, airborne command and control, search and rescue operations, both on land, sea, and mountain rescue, VIP transportation, and of course, aerial displays, as you have witnessing. BKs approaching one another. A steep turn to the left and right. What a beautiful display of the BK117 with precision of the expert flying skills of these pilots. The BK117 is formidable not only internal but external to the Republic of South Africa. Includes assistance in flood relief, humanitarian aid, and border security. Combined police operations in crime prevention operations. Cooperation with National Sea Rescue Institutes and also assisting in mountain rescue. Call-outs as they are also affiliated with the Mountain Rescue Clubs of South Africa. They are operated by Air Force Station Port Elizabeth in Gqeberha, 15th Squadron Charlie Flight. The BK117, as part of their aerial waltz, are now positioned for the nail-biting aerial maneuver. I will not spoil it for you. You will witness it for yourself. Inbound towards the crowd. Confirm they in your line of sight. Wait for it. That is for what that maneuver was known as the switchblade maneuver. Our president, as the grand finale to our mass air display this morning on this beautiful day, to conclude the flypast proceedings for this presidential inauguration, the 5 Pilatus PC Mark II basic flying training aircraft that followed the Casa 212 are inbound. The maneuver executed by the PC Mark IIs is known as the fan brake. Make sense? Beautiful. Fun fact, obviously previously smoke was also released, and this time with the different colors. Fun facts. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, our president, let us put our hands together finally and give a big winter warm applause to the formidable might and air power excellence of the South African Air Force. Thank you for your participation and attentiveness. I trust you have thoroughly enjoyed the air power display. And this now concludes the South African Air Force's flying and capability demonstrations in honor of the Presidential Inauguration 2024. I thank you.
Your Majesties, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to thank you all for joining us from all over South Africa, our continent, and the globe to witness the inauguration of His Excellency President, a memorable day and a historic milestone in the continuing development of our democracy. We sincerely, together with my co-director, thank you for navigating us through this occasion. May we kindly request that we rise as His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa and Dr. Motsepe take leave. The final compliments will be presented here, and I would then invite my counterpart, Minister Pando, to proceed with that portion of the program.
Thank you very much, Co-Program Director, DSG Mokonyane. The President will now receive the final compliments before we have the formal departure. Mr. President, I unfortunately ask you to pause your greetings and to return to your seat in order to receive the final compliments, which will include the national anthem. I request all our guests to remain standing for the final compliments. May we invite you to please be seated. And now my co-program director will allow the President to depart.
Mr. President and Dr. Motsepe, you are now free to greet your guests. Halala Ramaphosa, halala. Halala Ramaphosa, halala. Ripilele Ramaphosa, ripilele. Yeah. Molo, molo, molo. Dear, 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 dear.
They told us when he's greeting, the orchestra must just play.
Should we? You don't like this orchestra?
No, the orchestra was supposed to be like this now. Zanzi, listen, Zanzi National Philharmonic.
Okay. I now invite the Mzansi National Philharmonic Orchestra to render us an item as the President take leave.
Be a man of wisdom now, a man of mind, a man of good. Be a man of kindness.
Honorable members of Cape Town, please take your seats.
This is what to say with the kind of meaning. This is what to feel with the kind of feeling.
The National Chair of the ANC, please take your seat.
We are growing higher and higher.
May we please be seated.
Growing higher and higher.
The only person who's permitted to leave is the President.
Hear the children, they are talking to you. Hear the wind blow, it's blowing for you. See the grass grow, it whispers his name. Hear the fire blow, his heart is the flame. My head, it goes, oh my head, it goes, my head, it goes, oh my head, he is grow, see the grass grow, it whispers his name. See the fire blow, his heart is the flame. My head, oh see, oh my head, it goes, oh we are growing higher and higher. 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 Oh my head, it goes. We are growing higher and higher. Oh, we are growing higher and higher. We are growing higher and higher. We are growing higher and higher. My head, it goes. Oh, my head, it goes. Oh, my head.
Could I please ask all our guests to remain seated? The only persons that will leave at this time will be as announced by the program directors. If all of us stand up, we're going to cause a stampede and confusion with respect to the transport that has been arranged. So would you please allow us to continue to direct the program so that we have an orderly conclusion to our proceedings. Our president is still greeting his guests. I'm sure that that will end in a moment. We shall then, in an orderly manner, invite the heads of state in order to leave. And please allow us to do that in a proper South African organized manner. Mr. President, I respectfully request you to depart. Your Majesties, we shall now begin to indicate the departure procedure for our distinguished heads of state and government so that they might take their leave. And we shall do this in the orderly manner in which we addressed the arrival of all our distinguished guests. And since we don't have stampedes in South Africa, this will be orderly. We therefore begin by inviting the heads of state and government to take their leave in the following order of departure. I invite the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo and Mrs. Zondo to move to the departure point. We thank you sincerely, Chief Justice, for your service today. We then request that the Speaker of the National Assembly take her leave, as well as Mr. Didiza. We then invite that the Speaker should be followed by the Honorable Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces. We then invite His Excellency Mr. Paul Mashatile, the former Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, and his spouse to take their leave. We then invite His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of South Africa, and his spouse, Mr. K. Motlanthe, to take their leave. We shall pause a moment to allow the cars to line up. And even in that moment, we do not stand and stampede. We then request the former President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Thabo Mbeki and Mrs. Zanele Mbeki, to proceed to the departure point. Thank you, Your Excellency, for having joined us today. I think the Mzansi Philharmonic Orchestra can continue entertaining us with sublime notes. We now invite the former Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. David Mabuza, to take his leave. Thank you, Deputy President, for having joined us today. Your seats. You're not. The third Ingwenyama of the Kingdom of Eswatini and Her Majesty to take